Hey everyone, welcome to Amy Ulmer Yoga. We are going to work up to headstand today. So you may want to grab blocks. You may want to be near a wall and have plenty of space there. And we will start in child's pose. So take your knees wide, your big toes together to touch. Shift your hips back to your heels. Take your forehead down either to the mat or a block. And stretch your arms out long in front and just start to take a couple of breaths. And taking a moment to release any thoughts no longer serving you. Allowing your hips to sink and settle. Taking your time to fill up on the inhale and empty out completely on your exhale. Now with your next inhale, come to the all fours. You can set your blocks to the side. Bring your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Take an inhale and arch your back, dropping your belly, lifting your heart. And as you exhale, press the mat away, round into your upper back, tuck the chin, tuck the tail, and just go back and forth like that a couple times with your own breath. Inhaling to arch the back, exhaling to round. And then back to a neutral position with the spine. Take your hands a little more forward of your shoulders. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back to down dog. And just take a moment to wiggle around here. You can bend one knee and lower the other heel and shift back and forth. Getting any other wiggles out that might feel good to you. And then finding stillness in down dog. Spread your fingers wide, firm your forearms in, firm your upper arms in, and spin the outer arms back towards the wall behind you. Press into your thumb and index finger. Draw your ribs and navel in. Bend your knees a lot for a second, and then really shine your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. If you can keep that nice long, what we call flat back, then start to descend your heels. Heels don't have to touch the mat. Take one more breath in down dog. And then start to walk your hands back towards your feet, forward fold at the back of the mat. Now soften your knees and super slow start to ragdoll yourself up. Good. And then at the top, roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Take hold of your right wrist with your left hand, press through your feet and go up and over towards the left. drawing your ribs and navel in, gazing up under your right armpit. And then come back to center, reach both arms up. This time take hold of left wrist with right hand. Press through your feet and go up and over towards the right. Gaze up under your left armpit. Draw ribs and navel in. And then come back to center, reach both arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands can come to blocks if you need them. If you're having trouble straightening your legs, take your hands onto the blocks as high as you need. You can even use a chair. And then press your thigh bones back into your hamstrings, lengthen the spine, and then just find a nice, even roundedness through the spine. You will eventually round into it, letting your head go. And then soften your knees again, ragdoll up to stand. We'll start to shift the weight into your right foot. And then bring the left sole of the foot anywhere above or below the knee. The foot can stay on the ground. You can have your right leg and hand up against a wall if you're unsteady. So pressing, if you've got the foot on the leg, press the foot into the leg, leg back into the foot, hands to heart center. Find the spot on the floor that's not moving to take your gaze. If you want more of a challenge, you can look somewhere in the middle. Even more of a challenge, you can look up. Even more, you can close your eyes. You might grow your branches, reaching the arms up. Take one more breath. And then release. We'll go right to the other side. Shift the weight into your left foot. Bring the right sole of the foot up anywhere above or below the knee, or you can keep it on the floor. You can stand with your left leg near a wall, left hand at the wall. Start with your hands at heart center. Find where you want to take your gaze. And then when you're ready, reach your arms up. Nice. And then release. You can bring that foot down. We'll come back. We'll go to the top of the mat. Feet about 6 inches or so apart. Heels a little further away than your toes. Your toes are a little closer in than your heels. Reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, fingers to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back to a lunge. You may need blocks framing your right foot to give yourself a little more space. Reach your chest forward, press your back thigh up, and then find stability through your feet and legs. See if you can reach your arms up to lunge, high lunge. Good, and then exhale the hands back down. Heel toe your right foot a little more over to the right for lizard. So you're bringing your hands down to the mat. You might even be able to bring your forearms down to the mat, or you can bring them down to blocks. Take a breath. And then start to walk yourself back up onto your hands. Plant your left hand either to the block or the mat. Reach your right arm up for a twist. Good, and then exhale the hand down. Heel toe your right foot back towards center. Straighten your right leg. Back heel can be up, or you can spin it down like pyramid, wherever you are. Maybe you have blocks to help you straighten that right leg. Draw the right hip back and the left hip forward, squaring off your hips. Take an inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, maybe fold in a little deeper. Good, and then bend back into the knee. Set the blocks to the side. Plant your hands. Step back to down dog. Lower your knees. Come onto your forearms. Interlace your fingers. Now, let yourself drop into your shoulders and then activate your shoulders so that you're lifting up out of them, spacious around your ears. So you stay lifted up out of your shoulders, and then tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back. Now, if your back is rounding a lot, bend your knees. Otherwise, we're pressing the thighs back and pressing the chest towards your thighs, wrapping your outer arms back, staying lifted, steady breath. And then walk your feet back, coming into a forearm plank, gentle tuck of the tail. Take a breath here, and then lower the thighs, the belly, come into Sphinx pose. So you uninterlace your hands, your elbows are under your shoulders. You're drawing your heart through your arms. Good, and then lower down, slide the hands back, press back to a child's pose. Taking the knees wide if you like, big toes together. Forehead comes down to the mat or block. Good, and then inhale, come back to the all fours. Bring the hands forward, tuck the toes, lift your hips up and back, down dog. Hands are shoulders distance, feet are hips distance. And you're really lifting that tailbone up towards the ceiling, tilting it up, almost like you're trying to arch your back. Keeping with the natural curves of your low back and making sure you're not rounded. Good, and then bend your knees, gaze forward, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingers to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, fold all the way in. Good. Inhale, press through your feet, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, fingers to shins or hands to blocks, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back to a lunge. So reaching your heart forward, pressing your back thigh up, gazing a little bit forward. Take a breath, and then see if you can press through your feet. Reach the arms forward and up to high lunge. Good. If you're unsteady, try firming your inner thighs in. You can also spin your back heel down or lower the back knee. We'll take one more breath. Good, and then hands come down. We heel toe the left foot a little more over to the left for lizard. Hands on the mat or blocks. You might be able to lower onto forearms. Wherever you are, just taking a couple of deep breaths. One more full cycle of breath. And then start to walk yourself back up onto your hands. Plant your right hand to a blocker of the mat. Reach your left arm up for that twist. Good, and then exhale the hands down. Walk the left foot more towards center, and then straighten the left leg, folding over the leg any amount. You might have blocks framing the foot. You can keep that back heel up or spin it down. Inhale to lengthen your heart forward. Exhale to fold in a little deeper. Gotta open those hamstrings for your headstand later, or your legs up the wall. Good, and then bend back into that knee. We're going to set the blocks to the side, plant your hands, step back to down dog. And again, we'll lower the knees, lower one forearm and the other, interlacing fingers. And then taking your elbows under your shoulders, tucking your toes, lift your hips up and back, bend your knees if you need to. You know, if your back is rounded a lot here, this is your work here instead of headstand. So this is great headstand prep. Press your chest back towards your thighs. Wrap your outer arms back, that external rotation in the shoulders. Stay lifted up out of your shoulders. Good. And then walk your feet back. Forearm plank just for a breath. Tuck the tail, draw your ribs and navel in, and then lower down into Sphinx, releasing the interlace, bringing your wrists in line with your elbows under your shoulders, drawing your heart through your arms, keeping a little engagement in your low belly. Good, and then lower the chest, slide the hands back to press yourself to child's pose. Shifting your hips back towards your heels, reaching your arms out in front, or if you want to have them along your legs, that might be a nice release for your shoulders. And then we'll inhale and come up. Time for headstand or headstand prep. Or if you've had enough, you can put your legs up the wall. So you'll bring your butt all the way against the wall and put your legs up. You can also keep working on that forearm dolphin, and then you can walk yourself out to a forearm plank, and then you can lower down into that Sphinx, and you can keep repeating that to work on your headstand. Because so go ahead, and if you're coming into headstand, set up near the wall, and you're going to bring your forearms down. You're going to have like an inch from your hands on the wall. Interlace your fingers and bring that bottom pinky in so you're not smushing the pinky. You're going to bring the crown of your head down. Now, hang on a second. Come back up. Make sure you're on the crown of the head. So take your block, press down on top. If you've got the block too far forward, your chin will drop. If the block and you're pressing down on the block too far back, you're going to crunch your neck back. So find the crown of your head where when you apply pressure and you're pressing your head back into the block, it's not too much. You've got everything stacked. Okay? So go ahead and lower the forearms. Bring get that interlaced bottom pinky inside so that you're not smushing it. Crown of the head comes down. Now lift up out of your shoulders. Press your elbows down. tuck your toes, start to walk your feet in. If your back is rounded, stop and work on the prep. Don't try to kick up. Walk your feet in. See if you can bend one knee and the other and come into a tiny ball, and then reach your feet up. You can touch the wall. You might just have to kick up. First step is to kick up. Second step is to squeeze into that tiny ball. And don't worry if it doesn't happen today. Once you're up there, you're drawing ribs and navel in. You're reaching through the legs. You might have your feet up against the wall and you're scrubbing your heels up the wall. Otherwise, you might try taking one foot away and then the other. And this is not a lot of weight on your head. There shouldn't be a lot of pressure on your head. You're using your arms, lifting, keeping all that lifted out of your shoulders, around your shoulders, pressing into your forearms, and then really reaching up through your legs. And then when you're ready, you're going to come out the same way, bending the knees, seeing if you can come into that tiny ball, and then quietly lowering one leg and then the other. And then resting for several breaths in child's pose. Don't try to come straight up. Good work. Wherever you are. And then we'll come into a down dog. Pressing the hips up and back. You can nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Just releasing tension in the neck. And then you're going to bring your knees down. We'll bring the feet around in front and come on to your back for bridge. So hugging the knees in for a moment, rocking a little bit side to side. Soles of the feet come down about hips distance apart. Arms alongside you with the palms down. If you have your block handy, you can take it under your sacrum. Lift your hips and set your hips, sacrum down on the block. And on any level that suits you. If you want to take a more active bridge, interlace your fingers underneath you, roll from shoulder to shoulder. Press your forearms down, firm your inner thighs in. Good, and then lower, upper, middle, low back. If you're in that supported bridge, press into your feet to remove the block. And we'll take a happy baby, taking hold of the outer edges of the feet, drawing knees down towards your armpits. Good. And then take any final movements before Shavasana. So it might be a twist, maybe a pigeon pose. You may just be ready for Shavasana right now. Honor yourself for trying something new, for doing something that potentially scares you. Soften the muscles in the face. Just allow your body to be heavy. Your breath to be easy. And your mind to let go. Allow your next inhale to be a little deeper. And begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Circle wrists and ankles. Let your head rock side to side. And then on an inhale, reach your arms by your ears. Take a stretch. And then when you're ready, bend one knee, walking the heel in towards your bum. Bend the other knee, walk the heel in. Slowly roll off to one side, whichever side best supports you, resting there a moment, using the arm as a pillow. And then using the strength of your arms to slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, bringing hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.